Hey there, ever wonder about the chemical in our daily life? Well, let's dive into it. So, chemicals are pretty nifty. They help with our activity, keep us healthy, and even help crops grow. But here is the catch. If we don't handle them properly, trouble follow. Every year, around 1,000 new chemicals pop up, totaling whopping in 100,000 globally. Storing and moving them can get tricky, and while most accidents aren't too bad, disaster like Bhopal in 1984 can be catastrophic. It's not just about the worker. Our home and every suffer can be affected. Messing up the air, water and food, scientists are always checking how harmful these chemicals are. So it's crucial to handle them with care and avoid problems. So now, let's talk about how workplace chemical can sneak into our bodies and the risks involved. Chemical at work can find their way into our body in different ways, such as into breathing, skin contact, or even instillation. Pregnant women can also be exposed through the placenta, even if you're not directly handling chemical. Just breathing in the workplace can be common exposure route. Handling without protection, well, that as sapphire will increase the risk of skin absorption. And don't forget dust eyes, they can absorb chemical too, especially from splashes. Dangerous chemical can make their way into inhaling, swirling, or just by touching them. That was workplace rules often say no to eating, drinking, or smoking where hazard chemicals are being used. These chemicals don't just harm the entry site, they can mess with other organs too.
Chemical affects human firstly based on acute effect or chronic effect. Acute effect means after a short exposure, an immediate effect may be experienced by the person, while chronic effect is repeated exposure and involve a delay between the first exposure. Example of effects are dermatitis, headache, or nausea. Next, local effect or systemic effect caused by hazardous substance. This includes corrosive injuries from acid bases or lung injury from inhaling gases such as ozone, phosgene, and nitrogen oxide. Moreover, for chemical group that cause health risks, firstly are fume and gases. Metal fume fever is a known health effect when metal fume, often containing zinc, are inhaled. Not to forget that gases may have an irritating effect, or they may enter the blood circulation and cause internal damage. Example of gases are carbon monoxide and sulfur oxide. Furthermore, chemical group solvent. Many solvents have a narcotic effect. They may cause dizziness, headache, reduced comprehension, or tiredness. Example of solvent involved are benzene and carbon tetrachloride.
Next, metal. Metal can enter the body in forms of fume, dust, or even through our skin. For example, nickel. Nickel is present with other metals in various alloys. Some compound of nickel can cause cancer. Next is acid and bases. Strong acid and bases are mostly used in water solution and they are corrosive to human tissue. When acid and bases are mixed together, the phenomenon of neutralization occurs with strong production of heat and risking injury to the worker. And lastly is pesticide. Pesticides are intended to destroy or control pests of all kinds. Pesticide can damage our nervous system and can even cause death. They are effective even at low concentration.
There are a few measures that can be taken to minimize the risk caused by chemicals. Number 1. Substitute powder chemical substances into pellets or paste. This reduces the rate of diffusion of dangerous chemical substances in the air, thus reduce workers' exposures to dangerous substances. Number 2. Use seal pipe to transfer liquid or gas instead of pouring it in open air. This reduces vaporizations of hazardous liquid chemical substances in open air. Number 3. Collect hazardous gases, fumes, and dust in vented air. These hazardous substances should be treated to protect the air quality at the workplace surrounding. Number 4, enclose hazardous substances to reduce its exposure to workers. Hazardous substances should place in store that keep it away from workers. Only authorized workers can handle those hazardous substances to reduce exposures of other workers.